There you are.
Hey,
So, I'll take care of the dog real quick.
welcome to Odd Musings After Dark. Oh, you're in the high-pitched noise again all of a sudden. Don't know what happened. So sometimes Brett's system, for some reason, the audio will do that. So he's going to do a quick reset as we prepare for our Wednesday evening edition. Let's see, here comes Brett.
Okay.
There you go.
Just crazy. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. What does it?
It's something within Windows with the microphone, I guess. I have to check my drivers and make sure I get it updated in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I take care of something with the dog real quick. So, but I was talking to Scott real quick. So I take care of something. I went and grabbed it real quick. So I was telling Scott with this stands we use. We always use our backdrop stands for the bars go across. We have stands that go up. They're technically called light stands or backdrop stands. They're used in the photography industry mainly.
Right.
So I was looking for some. Like, okay, we're traveling some, and I had some cheaper ones. I never really liked them. They feel cheap. They break easily. So
especially traveling via airplane, they can take abuse. So the cheap ones don't last.
Yeah. So I found these, and I'll be testing them out this weekend. I've set them up a couple times already, and they work pretty. This is how they ship. You can see how. Yeah.
That's
so
nice.
Like 20 inches maybe at the most. So, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 little circles things here that will extend it out. I had to go buy a couple things for the tips here to be able to connect the crossbars. It's designed again for lights and cameras and stuff like that. This is how it opens.
Yeah, so it goes all the way. Look at
that. So you can see kind of how big it is.
Yeah, that really compacts it down by having the legs fold all the way up the way they do.
Yeah, and when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my god, that's exactly what I've been looking for."
Yeah,
for years, because we've got the old poles. They're all like 4 foot, 5 foot tall.
Yeah,
themselves.
They're not easy traveling on airplanes.
Yeah, and then like the smaller ones, I've gotten a couple times that are kind of smaller. They're like 24, 25 inches, which is still even in a suitcase. Well, actually more than that, because suitcases that are like 30 inches is still a little bit bigger. So it's like 32 inches or more. They just don't fit in a suitcase right. These fit lengthwise just perfectly inside my 26-inch suitcase. Still got to use my bigger case for the crossbars. So the crossbars are just a certain right there.
Yeah, lay them diagonally in there.
Yeah, and across the stuff, which is fine. It works.
Yeah.
So it's as we're traveling, it's something we've always struggled with flying to shows. One is weight, watching our weights on the plane on the bags. Number 2 is getting everything in there properly so we can minimal space. I don't always like to have to take a golf bag when we've done that. Because Kevin and I have done it a few times where one of our bags is a check-on is a golf bag, and you can get a lot in it, but it's big and it's bulky, and you got to deal with it, deal with that at the airports, and that's not fun. So
yeah.
So that's my newest thing, and I'll be trying it out. So I'll be setting it up this weekend for the Cincinnati Comic Expo. So
yeah.
And
what's that run? Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yes. Yeah. It's now, just so anybody's planning on coming out, they are sold out of the weekend and VIP passes. They only have daily passes, and you have to go online and buy them before you come to the show. They have a will call place where you can go pick them up, but they're not going to have a box office set up at the show. So everything has to be done online. So they won't take any cash or card there at all. Everything's done online for that. I'm not sure why they went that way, but I know almost everybody's going that way anyway. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like it's a big show.
Manage all.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
They did announce today, and there was a video from John Rice Davies had to cancel. He's got a friend that's not doing very well. He sent a video from Panama, actually. He was down in Panama with his friend, who his friend lives down. I don't know who his friend is, but I know Noriega's not down there anymore. He's up here still, I think, in a prisoner. He's dead. So he's down there with his friend in Punch Comic. But if you look at me, John Rice Davies, he's supposed to be at the Motor City Comic Con next month for those that go to that. I won't be there. Unfortunately, Scott's on the wait list, and so unless something changes, he's not planning on being there either. But it's a fun local show. I'll be at the one in the spring is what my plan is. So
that's good.
Yeah.
You mentioned John Rice Davies. Wasn't he in Indiana Jones?
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
He's Sala.
Did you see the news connected with the Indiana Jones that came out?
Yeah, they found something around Petra.
Yeah, they found 12 skeletons buried in a tomb at the location where they filmed, I guess. So,
Well, that's Petra in Jordan. That's
Yeah.
they filmed I think outside. The inside was all sets because they're not going to go in
Yeah.
there and destroy that. But
Right.
that's a historical biblical area there.
Yeah, so they had a discovery, but they were talking about how it was underneath one of the filming sites. I guess they did some on location filming outside or something.
Yeah, they did a lot of stuff outside. I don't think they really did much inside. It's one of those things where I don't see that happening very much, but yeah, that's kind of
Yeah,
interesting. I hadn't read too much into it yet, but I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. They're after these hundreds of years they've been around that site that they're just now finding something.
yeah. With how much archaeology has been done over there, it's interesting. They're still finding stuff.
Yeah. So
I thought that was cool. Then the other news that came out is the train wreck continues. Joker 2 had an 83% decrease in viewership.
oh yeah,
And
here's how you know it's not doing any good. Nobody has been posting about it online.
well, in the posts I have seen, like if you go on TikTok,
Mhm.
tons of videos of many people walking out in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
Like just like half the theater leaving.
It did like 7 million over the weekend. The number one film was the truly independent Terrifier 3. Did almost 19 million.
Never heard of it.
Art the Clown. I've not watched the movies. I'm aware of them. He's let me see. I can find something here. So I mean, these movies are very, very disturbing in terms of the amount of violence they do.
What's it called?
Terrifier. Yeah, I'll pull up. I got an image here. So
Terrifier 3?
yeah, number 3 just came out. The first one came out very independent. All three of them.
Oh, that clown. I've seen that clown.
Yeah.
I never heard of the series though, but I've seen that clown.
Yeah, that's him. That's Art the Clown. I remember when it came out because Corey Smith was telling me how good it was, and he did some artwork based on it. And he said, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be huge." And in the horror community, that's probably it's the newest icon we're gonna have since like Ghostface, really.
Definitely not helping the clown community.
No, I mean, well, clowns are scary, and everybody wants. So, but yeah, so it's number 3 came out, and I guess it's even there's like people are literally getting up and leaving because it was so
bad.
So
scary.
So they were in the it's a slasher flick is what it is, and it's like they do the grossest things. I mean, he's the second one, he split a woman from the right down the middle, hanging up upside down, and they don't hold back on the blood and the gore. So it is definitely not for the squeamish.
So wait a minute, is this? There's one called you got Terrifier 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
But then also All Hallows Eve.
I think that's something else entirely.
It looks like the same clown.
It might, or maybe that was. I think it was. Yeah, that was where the clown came from. That was the first one.
So really, this is Terrifier 4.
Well, this is Terrifier 3 because All Hallows Eve is its own thing. It was its own thing, and I think it's where they introduced Art the Clown, and then they went into Terrifier.
Oh, okay. So he was a character in another series.
Yeah, in another movie.
Gotcha.
And then he did this is Damien Leone. He's his feature film directorial debut. I'm looking at right now. And then he created Terrifier after that. So I think it's something like the first one, without seeing it, it's a killer clown.
Yeah.
And it's 3 horror stories linked to this killer clown. So it's done almost like a Trick or Treat style.
Right.
And then I think the Terrifier movies is he comes back kind of like think like a Freddy Krueger. So it's like he spawned from one movie and became a whole other movie. And went from there. So.
You know anything about this clown? Like, is he a?
I have no clue. No, I haven't watched it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
If Kevin was available, he'd probably be able to tell us. But I know he's work stuff this week. So, but yeah, and I know people watch it. So it's a slasher flick, but the way to look at it, and it's like basically in some way, I think he's just a demon clown type thing. You know?
Jason Patrick's in it.
Oh, okay.
Or at least, Terrifier 3. Jason Patrick, Lost Boy fame.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho, the wrestler, is in it.
Yeah.
Tom Savini.
Yeah.
He's a bystander. He's been set up next to me many times in the past. He would always have that Hollywood makeup booth.
Yeah.
Where he would do people up. Oh, Clint Howard's in it. Let's see. I'm just looking at some names I know. A lot of these names I don't know. I'm getting old.
Yeah, well, I pulled up Wikipedia on him, and I guess the guy that did the movies created him in a 2006 short film called The Ninth Circle, and they did another short in 2011, and the shorts would generate interest for what became an anthology film. So they were all the anthology film was just contained both segments, plus he did another segment. Looks like so that was where that came from, and then he went to his own thing, and he did it through Indiegogo. He raised funds for the first one, Indiegogo.
Wow.
And then a producer, Phil Falcone, helped contribute funds to make the film in exchange for producer credit. This guy, Mike Gianelli, portrays the clown in all incarnations. He retired from acting before production began, and then Thornton replaced him as art. So, so he's a couple different people doing that. But the first one was made on a low budget, $35,000. Film premiered at Telluride Horror Show Film Festival in 2016. So it definitely is a low budget film to start. Yeah. And then the second one came out in 2022, and this one in 2024. And this one, I know they didn't do much on it. I mean, the first one box office was only like $500,000, very limited release. It sounds like. So it looks like in terms of indie films, I like seeing stuff like that. But it came out fairly quickly, then on like DVD, Blu-ray, and eventually streaming stuff like that. But definitely, it's not your typical. It's not the typical horror films. It kind of reminds me of what I've seen of harkening back to the 80s when we had all these videos on VHS, these horror films, and they didn't have to hold back because they weren't releasing them in the theater anyways. So
yeah, I feel I'm kind of seeing the trailer here on my other screen here, and I don't have the sound going, but it does have a 80s vibe. This would work like you mentioned, Freddy Krueger. Like I could see this guy being in a similar universe as that.
Yeah. Well, it's like Terrifier 2. I pulled it up on Box Office Mojo. It did like just under 16 million worldwide, but I'm sure the budget for these films is, again, not much at all.
Yeah, you don't need much with the horror. That's one of the reasons why those movies do so well from a business standpoint.
And they get a lot of the same people to be in. It's like, okay, I'm not going to make much as an actor in this, but they're tied into. They probably get points in the back end. So they're all getting a little something there. So,
but what's interesting is like you look at like these movies here, right, and how they're doing. It doesn't take much budget to make a good movie, and then you look at Joker. There's no reason for Joker to be an insane budget. It's not a high action. It's not this high action like a Batman movie where there's a lot of production value on sets and explosions and action sequences and costume. He's also a clown. Like. They could, they didn't need to make it where they had a $500 million break-even point.
Right. Well, and that's the whole thing. It's, you see things like this. It's like Terrifier is not for everybody for sure. I mean, I don't know people have seen it. I hear people talk about it all the time at shows, especially a couple of the horror shows, things like that. Anything dealing with horror, they're like, "Oh yeah, Art the Clown, that's great, love that." But it's about just telling whatever you want to tell for the story. But again, the ones that spend all these big bucks and they don't make their money back, people are like, well, why? Well, it's because they can, and
right.
And the thing is, they in a lot of ways, I think they go into like a Joker, too, with the anticipation that it's kind of the Mel Brooks producer. They can actually make more money by making a flop,
right?
Because they pulled in all this other money to make this movie. Yeah, $500,000, everything. Oh yeah, sure. How much they pay themselves first.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the key and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so it just come out. So
let's see. In Terrifier 2, after being resurrected by a sinister entity, Art the Clown returns to the timid town of Miles County, where he targets a teenage girl and her young brother on Halloween night. So does he return like once a year? Is that what it is? He shows up on Halloween?
I don't know. I mean, you're asking the wrong person on that again.
Yeah. It's just one that's called All Hallows Eve.
Well, that was, again, think about that. I already explained that to you. He did a short film, did a second short film. He created All Hallows, even did a third short film and just combined them. So it was an easy put together.
Yeah.
So that's where he created this idea. And then Terrifier is basically the first real telling of who this Art the Clown is as his own story, not just these little vignettes where he was probably the killer or something.
But I'll like the first one. After witnessing a brutal murder on Halloween night, a young woman becomes the next target of a maniacal entity.
Mm-hmm.
So they always reference this entity, and it always seems to be Halloween.
Well, this one here, for Terrifier 3, it's Christmas Eve.
Oh, they're doing a Nightmare Before Christmas thing going here.
So I think the thing is, Scott, is when you're looking at these, you need to almost ignore that All Hallows Eve as being part of the series per se.
Yeah.
Terrifier 1, 2, and 3 is the series. The other
Yeah.
ones are kind of like these little side story and vignettes that kind of launch through the
I'm just trying to figure out, without seeing the movie, like, is there certain rules to this guy? Like only a certain
No, he just kills.
or...
He kills in the most obscene and gross ways he can. You know.
No, but I mean his presence, because they keep calling him an entity. So, like, does he show up?
If he got killed, you
or...
just said he got killed in the first one, so someone resurrects him in the second one. So obviously, someone resurrects him again. So he's just a demon clown, is all he is.
So then,
I don't think. I mean, here's the thing. I was just looking up the total budget across the 3 films, not the Hallows Eve. That's not included in this. It's just $5 million. They don't need a reason.
$5 million.
They don't need a reason for him to come back. They're just like, he's back. I got $2 million. He's back.
Well, this is cool. It's cool that like $5 million between 3 movies. Like, are you able to see the box office for those?
Yeah, the second one, the first one I did like $500,000. It wasn't much at all. It was a very limited run, it sounds like. And basically, I think it was a straight to video, get it on streaming. You know, they spent like $35,000 on it. So doing $500,000 at the box office, that's all profit at that point. Exactly. And then the Terrifier 2 did around 16 million worldwide, and already just in one weekend, Terrifier 3 has done almost 19 million. So it's built up. They've built up the audience. They've built up their fan base. I mean, this is a film that it's not going to break 100 million. If it does, I'd be a little surprised. Maybe worldwide, but
it's like 100% pure profit what they do make.
Yeah, I mean, if they put $5 million into the budget of all these, $35,000 was the first one. Second one was probably $2 million. So this was like $2.5 million to make this one here. So the first day they made back their money.
Right.
And I've not seen but limited advertisement. Heck, most of it's probably free on Facebook because of different shares and flips and stuff like that. It's all the grassroots. It's kind of like what, you know, when people talk to me about doing comics, they're like, well, where can I buy them? Where do you see, dude? We go to Comic-Cons. You just got to build it from the ground up, and then it goes viral, and that's what these movies have done. So, but yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, they're not. I keep thinking I should check it out sometime just to see what the whole hubbub's about. I know what I'm going to get into with it, but it's never something I'm sitting around thinking about it and watch. There's a billion things to watch. Yeah. So it's like I finally got a chance to see Alien Romulus. That's what I forgot to tell you. I did watch that last night.
And
I loved it. My gosh.
I agree. It was so good.
And they set it up to do another one. I like how it fits into the story of Alien, between Alien and Aliens. Because you see the destroyed Nostromo. Just bits of it. You catch it real quick at the beginning there. The idea of
what I forget what they call them in there, but he was from that other ship. Synthetics, thank you.
Yeah, he was Rooker, but he wasn't the same one from Nostromo. He wasn't? No, but he looked very similar to him. So I think he was a similar model, is what they were getting at. Because when they talked to Adam, who's also synthetic, he was a mining one, and he kind of complimented him on being this top of the line mining one, although he didn't have the full capacity in his programming. So, and I liked how they dumped the programming into him from the science officer, and how it blended, and then how they were able to change it back to him. But I liked it. I liked the cast, the people that were in it. I thought they did a good job. I found it very interesting how it came out. And neat thing is saying, here comes a space station. So there's this mining colony, and nobody's messing with it. I'm saying, why are they the only ones really paying attention to it? That was kind of my first thought. But then they go up there, and I'm like, oh, it was just going to crash. And I think people that ran to place down there, because most of them couldn't get off world anyways, were going to let this thing crash. They knew that there was nothing good on there. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it was definitely very interesting. I liked it a lot. I'll definitely be watching that again down the road sometime, and look forward to better seasons. That's what they need to do with franchises like that. Mm-hmm. You got to stick to kind of what worked within it. They tried to go even in the original ones with Alien 3 and 4 or whatever. It kind of got way off target. But Aliens makes it. The real bad guy is not the alien. It's Weyland Corp, and just
It's the Whalen Coat.
and they set that up great in this, showing how they were the prime directive for the synthetic that was running it was basically they were looking to harvest what creates these aliens, but then take and elevate the human evolution.
Well, it's also an interesting cautionary tale of AI because the like Rook has no soul. You know, he's just a machine and he's following the prime directive, and the prime directive is more important than the human life. So he makes this very cold, calculated decisions, not caring about the cost.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're quickly entering in this world where you see Elon Musk, while I like him, he's creating our downfall. Like he's got
Right.
now these robots coming out. I feel like it's like from iRobot.
Well, it is. In fact, he's being sued by the creator of iRobot because his vehicle. They're saying the vehicles and these robots he's coming out with, are
like
a little too close. They look like they're taking from the design. He says he's always influenced by different sci-fi, but they look a little too close. But at the same time, the iRobot robots were also inspired from like all the way back to the silent film of Megalopolis and all that. So
yeah, it's hard for them to claim they have the design of robots. I mean.
Well, I think it's something I think they may be able to get some out of. They're going to eventually get paid. And
the van I could see because it did make me think of it, where it came and then it goes sideways and they all launch out. But yeah, but anyways, it's interesting how this stuff is being created, and it's all this world of AI and merging with robotic humanoids is coming real.
Yeah. Well, it does say here, I pulled it up because I want to see if I can find a good picture. I don't want to see it, but it does say that the Tesla robots were remotely controlled dummies. They were not actual autonomous robots, but that doesn't mean anything. That's coming.
Well, but that's almost worse because look at all the cyber hacks. So if somebody hacks in, they can control them.
Well, yeah.
We saw that in Iron Man 2, was it?
Yeah.
Electro or whatever his name is,
Whiplash.
Whiplash. He hacked into all of Iron Man's drones there.
Yeah. Well, it is. But
back to the Iron Man's drones.
Yeah, but back to the Alien. Great film. I saw it on TV, and I wish I'd seen it in the theater. Just didn't have time to go, and I'm glad I got a chance to check it out. And I definitely liked it a lot.
It's a perfect soft reboot. It's what I believe both of us thought they were doing with The Force Awakens.
Right.
It was a soft reboot where elements of the old it didn't.
Oh yeah, there was some dialogue. There was scenes. Yeah. They had things there. Yep. What they did more was they elevated it up. It wasn't just a monster. It started like you thought it was going to be just the one.
Right.
And then you see a bunch of the aliens that we know, but then there's a different alien at the end. How it got crossbred with the baby and everything else. And I found that very interesting. Yeah.
That alien at the end is a real guy. He's a basketball player. He's like the world's tallest basketball player or something. Mm-hmm. And they cast him to be that role. Alien
Romulus, yeah.
Romulus. Tall alien. I'll put I forget it was a hybrid or something. But here it is. The guy's name is. Let me share it onto StreamYard here.
Okay.
All right. So he's a basketball player. His name's Robert Bobrowski. He's over 7 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
Like he's a massive guy. 7 feet, 7 inches tall.
Dang.
So like it was perfect. I mean, he's so big. He's got this awkward build to him that making him that alien. Honestly, they put prosthetics on him, but that was his body. That it wasn't. The
majority was
CGI.
him. Yeah.
It wasn't this weird CGI. You know.
Yeah, it was a practical effect, is what they did. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was very interesting to see. But
I
look for, and they did it in a way where we have. Once again, they wrote a strong female character, much in the vein of Sigourney Weaver and Ripley, But it
Yeah.
wasn't Ripley. It was their own character with her own backstory and everything else. They made a new character, and they created in a way where they can move forward with following her instead of just recasting and rebooting and just having a new person play Ripley. They've created a new character,
Right.
and I look forward to seeing what else they do with this.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's like when you look through the movies, Alien itself, great film. I rewatched that just a few weeks back. I haven't rewatched Aliens yet. I've been meaning to. Alien 3 was just you know, it was I didn't like what they did when I initially saw it. Alien Resurrection was just horribly done. But then they come out, and it's been a long time between them. Then they come out with they did the Alien versus Predator films or whatever. But in Alien movies themselves, they did Prometheus. Well, Prometheus should have been a lot more, but they were trying to explain the giant alien from the first Alien movie and that them and how they just did a bad job of doing it, of talking about it. You walked out of there going, oh my God, I just spent 2 hours and it didn't do anything for this, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
and then
I'm trying to think, where did they really go wrong with it? Like, because they still make Weyland the bad guy. The corporation is still the bad guy in it, but it just, I don't know.
It was basically what they did here. I mean, when you look at read about what it is, it's supposed to be about a clue to mankind's origin on Earth, and so they're trying to take it back to that and the godlike beings. It didn't work. In terms of the storytelling, it just was not.
Yeah, I think that the engineers kind of steer you away wrong.
Yeah.
To me, the creatures, the aliens, the animorphs or xenomorphs, they're like, to me, they are, now I'm talking from a Christian standpoint, we have a world filled of order and all this stuff, and we have nature and all this, but these are like beings that were created out of like pure nature without God's influence. It's like pure chaos and death and killing and destructive force of nature itself, untamed. Like that's what a xenomorph is. And
well, yeah, they are they require a host to truly become what they need to become. So it's almost like a butterfly in some ways. The butterfly actually makes its own cocoon and then comes out. They need a physical form to ingest that part in. That's where the face hugger comes in. And then from there, then the host is what it gestates in, and it takes on the DNA of that host.
Right.
Which is interesting how it does that. It creates, it's supposed to take some DNA, but at the same time, when we see the alien come out, it is these creatures. They are its own thing. Where the one came out because I think it was tied into the girl who was pregnant, so it threw off that. But then it came out human form as a baby, because basically it came out fast because it basically went into the baby. The baby's growing. So I explained how that one got at the end of this last film got the way it is. But the other ones have always been that standard xenomorph we know as the alien and everything else, with the steel-looking mouth dropped down, a little smaller mouth comes out. And
they had their characteristics that are applied, but like then there's like one where it went into a dog, so it went on all fours.
Yeah, I think that was in the Covenant, Alien Covenant.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
I think it was that one, or it was, I don't know. We went and saw Alien Covenant. I think Kevin was with us that one before Motor City Comic Con back in 2017. And it was like, oh yeah, this looks really good. Just horrible. It was just not good.
What happens if a xenomorph takes on a T-Rex? What will a T-Rex xenomorph look like?
Well, I would assume it's going to be giant.
We're doing the period pieces of Predator now, where they go back a couple hundred years. Maybe
so we need to do
the xenomorphs.
No, we don't have to go back. They got Jurassic Park World, and you can land in Jurassic World, and there we go. So Alien Jurassic World.
Oh, there we go. You got it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then Weyland could join forces with the corporation that's trying to harness the DNA of the dinosaurs.
Yeah. I think the big problem is not even so much what they could create with these alien; it's the story they're going to tell. Yeah. And the story they tell it ends up being crap with some of these. And fortunately, this was good. It's like Prey. It was a Predator movie, done really good. It told a good story. You don't have to get. They try to get one is they try to get the wrong actors. It's like you look at that Covenant. Well, Danny McBride's in it. Okay, so you're going with a stupid comedy aspect of it. No, what worked for this one is one, they were primarily, I think, unknown actors. Number two was there was nobody trying to be Mr. Funny Man. And sometimes they do these movies, they always have to try Mr. Funny Man, and he's not funny.
Yeah.
He may be funny in other stuff, but he's not funny.
It worked in Aliens with Bill Paxton, but that's only because it was part of a larger unit. And
But even then, he wasn't trying to be Mr. Funny Man. He was just a
right,
guy that happened to be a couple of jokes on it, but they kept it
right,
serious. Where you get some of these other stuff, they really try to be that stupid comedy. It's like, oh, you know what? We watch these movies with these guys, and they're funny, and they're stupid weed movies, and then they want to put them into something else, and it's like, no, your weed jokes do not translate to an alien movie.
yeah.
Or you
Well,
do like the
also,
stupid Predator one where you're going to have like a 20-foot giant predator and a doctor that also knows how to use weaponry they've never seen before in their life.
well, and this is where, I think people misunderstand the whole concept of strong female character is in that particular one that you're talking about, it was Olivia Munn, and it was just so stupid.
Yeah.
And a strong female character doesn't mean she can act like a man and she can beat up something. No, it's they're operating within a framework that's still based in reality. So like the female character in Alien Romulus, they didn't just make her this ass kicker. They gave her a background. What her background was, they made her operate within the rules of that background they gave her.
Yeah, and for her using a weapon, the guy showed her how to use it.
Right. But and then go to Aliens, you had the strong female Marine. It worked, but her back, because she had the background that would make her being a badass make sense. You got to make it make sense. But then Olivia Munn's character is like, oh, I grew up and I'm an archaeologist, but I can kick ass and fire every military weapon there is. And it's like, what? And I'm going to do hand-to-hand combat with the biggest predator ever.
Yeah, and take that's what none of that worked. I mean, that was just
dumb. It was just dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked Romulus. They set it up perfectly to move forward into a new direction with fresh stories. I like the dynamic they created between her and her synthetic, which she was raised with, so it's more of a brother to her.
Yeah, she referred to him as a brother. We knew pretty much early on right away he was a synthetic because of the blood.
Yeah,
but
so
I like how they did that. It was a great character to offset on that. They explained where they were, why they were there, trying to get out. They were basically indentured servants, trying to earn their time to be able to go off world to go to an actual colonized planet. And then they tell her, "Oh no, you can't." I mean, they set up everything like, "Okay, you can't." So that it's basically, "No, I'm trying to leave," and then, "Oh, we got this job. No, I'm going to get out of here." "Oh, I can't get out of here." "Okay, I'll help you out."
Yeah, you can see how Wayland Industries is manipulating the system so you never can leave.
Yeah. And that's what it is. They're indentured servants is what they end up becoming. So, and that was interesting. I did find interesting though that, okay, you guys can't leave, but y'all have a ship. I mean, I know they couldn't go far because the alien universe, the ships do not go light speed. So, but they have hyper chambers for putting them into a deep sleep. So that's why they go long. That's why there was between Alien and Aliens, it was like, I think 50 something years.
Yeah.
And she was basically frozen, and
yeah, they rely on the cryogenics
yeah,
sleep through the time,
right,
instead of speeding up time.
So it's like you said, it would be like 9 years to get to that other planet.
Didn't we have, and I might be mixing up with other things, but either trackers or explosives embedded in themselves or something that they had to get out or something to leave?
No, not in this one. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, that's one of many other movies.
But definitely, it was very well done, and when you're dealing with some of these classic franchises like that, you've got to respect the original to really make them work, and I think that's what worked on this. And I'd love to see where they go with it. I mean, I'd like to see them go to another level, and with this character, see where she ends up at, kind of like the Ripley character. See where they go there. But yeah, the Wayland Corporation, if they do it right, is telling the bad guy. I mean, and that was more evident in Aliens than Alien. Alien, it was, you kind of tell it was the synthetic was basically had been programmed to do a certain thing and knew what it was doing. That's why it ended up at that planet when it wasn't supposed to be there. They were supposed to have been back home at the beginning of Alien, and it wasn't their solar system.
In this franchise, I don't know if you know or not, when in the first Alien movie, is that supposed to be the first known human contact with them? At least someone who survived? Like, Is Waylon aware of the xenomorphs?
Yeah,
in that movie?
what happened was they basically sent him to that planet to collect a sample.
Okay, so they sent them. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that was kind of the plan. The science officer on the ship was a synthetic, and basically knew that they were being rerouted without them all knowing.
yeah,
That's why, I mean, they spend like half the film. We got rerouted after they wake up, and then they're talking about, well, we get an extra hazard pay. I didn't get that much pay. Why'd you? I mean, they basically build up these people as like
that's right.
as these workers,
Yeah.
and you get to know them a little bit as that. Where this aliens was strictly right out of the Space Marines, because after she left that planet, um, and was drifting for 50 something years before she just happened to get found by a passing ship. They had already sent people up there within a few years of that to colonize that planet. And so they were colonizing it, probably knowing that those eggs were there. And it was kind of whole thing. And that's why they went back, because they lost contact. And she was kind of surprised, like, what do you mean you sent people there? They shouldn't have been going there.
Right.
So, so it's all tied around the whole thing with that Wayland Corporation. That's where really in Aliens is when you realize it's the corporation that's wrong. It wasn't just a guy or someone manipulated. It's the whole corporation. So they got the whole thing. So,
okay.
But yeah, so definitely I recommend that. And then I mentioned to Scott, because he mentioned they were watching Wednesday. I ended up rewatching that myself. Such a great series. Can't wait for the second one.
It was well done. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the next one. Like, even like, I like how like Wednesday's always like, she's investigating everything and she's so confident and she's right, but in almost every circumstance she was actually wrong.
Yeah.
She kept finding out.
Well, I think we talked about this originally when we watched it and talked about it on the air here. It's very much a Harry Potterish type.
It is. It would fit in that universe, I think.
Yeah. It's they do a very similar thing, and you've got the rule of three is still definitely evident there, because you have Wednesday, you have her roommate, and you have Thing. That's the three. I mean, there's other people around that are there, but really that's the three they concentrate on.
Yeah, they do a good job utilizing Thing.
Yeah. Yep. So I know the next season is supposed to come out sometime next year. They haven't got any actual dates on it yet. But everybody's back from it. I think it's still alive. And of course, they set up the ending of the series to continue on with the whole Hyde bit they were dealing with. So,
yep.
But yeah, my favorite thing still is Fred Armisen as Uncle Fester. He was just so great.
he was good as Uncle Fester. Yeah.
I think they got to have Uncle Fester come in, and he had just got back from Italy and do a European road trip. Go, scusi. But he was great. I liked him in that. And then, Jenna Ortega's really good in this. I before this, I'd seen her a couple of things here and there, and but I think she fits the role perfectly. She plays it just right. She's not trying to be Christina Ricci, who was in this, but she has her own take on it. But she definitely keeps that deadpan of Wednesday, but still brings in other stuff that you can see there as they're trying to grow the character more than the way she was in what we do in the movies and then other stuff. So
yeah, it was good. Let's see. Even the one who I'm blanking on her name, the one that plays Morticia.
Catherine Zeta-Jones. That was great.
Yeah, which is such a different role for her.
Yeah, and there's small bit parts for her, and then Luis Guzman playing Gomez, which I remember people were all like, "Oh my god, he can't be Gomez!" Like, you need to look at the original comic strip. That's what this is based off of. And the original comic, but then when you look at the picture of them when they're also much older in life at this point, so of course he's going to change. And they show pictures of when they were younger, and he was a attractive, good-looking guy. He was fit and stuff like that. He got older, and he became, a different-looking guy. He became what it looks like in the comic strips,
Yeah.
So, but I always found it very interesting how people just they go and trash them, and then they all go, "But you can't talk about her like this." It's like, really, okay. But and then of course Gwendolyn Christie. I loved her as Principal Weems, and she was head of the school and stuff like that. I love that. I think she's great. I'd like to see her in a lot more stuff.
Yeah, she did good in that role too. All around, I don't think anyone did a bad job.
No, no, I think the casting was done very well. I like how they tied in Christina Ricci to it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it just made a lot of this really fun to watch. So
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
yeah,
Well, then I'll pop this up.
yeah,
Let people know about our pre-launch page here for Last Light.
yeah.
So our Kickstarter originally I was going to launch it last night, but it's just trying to get the final touches and everything together. I had to push it back a week, so it will launch next Tuesday. But
Okay.
here's the page. I just posted the link there. You can click and go to, and when you get there, you scroll to here. See this? Notify me on launch. Click that, and you will get an email when it goes live, so you don't forget. So it's going to be a fun series here. It follows the Tunguska event. For those who don't know what that is, a long time ago in 1908, Tesla fired an experimental ray, some call the death ray, and simultaneously across the world in Russia, this the largest explosion ever recorded occurs, and this devastation happens about the size of the state of Rhode Island, about 4/5 the size of Rhode Island. So it's this massive devastation, and our story explores the aftermath of that explosion and what is happening at ground zero in the Imperial Russia at the time when Tsar Nicholas II was in charge. So this was just before communism took over and before the monarchy fell.
Yeah, the Bolshevik Revolution, as it was called.
Yes, and in our future books, we are going to tie into that as well.
All
So
right.
we got in the future, Lenin and others will be part of it, and this event ties into the Bolshevik Revolution. So we got some future stuff planned exploring that time period and what happened to the Tsar and his family. We also have characters like Gregory Rasputin, who is also a very infamous character in history, who also was close with the royal family at the time. And we cover him as well in this tale. So check it out. It's going to be fun. If you're a fan of zombies, historical fiction, World War I era stuff, that all that stuff's going to be in here. Nikola Tesla with his death rays. He's not a main part. We're exploring the aftermath of his, but in later parts of the story, we plan on bringing him back in.
All right.
Good times.
Very cool. And I'm gonna try to get my cover done when I get time to sit
Yeah,
back down
that's
and draw
okay.
again. So someday I will have a cover. Right now, it just says coming soon. So
It's saving the best for last.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, we'll go with that. That works. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah. So I mean, I'm excited about it. It's a new Bardstone project. It's a friend of Scott's had the story idea, and Scott's taking it and
Yes,
run with
yeah,
it.
my friend Darren O'Brien.
Mhm.
I've known him since 10th grade, so like 1988 ish. We've been friends ever since. He's a great guy. He always has story ideas, and he's always writing these stories down. But this isn't. He doesn't live in our world of Comic Cons and publishing and all this. So one day I was talking to him, and he's telling me about this idea he has, and he's been telling me this for a long time. Finally, I'm like, we need to make it happen. So I'm like, let's get together, and me and him co-wrote this. He's the creator of it. He wrote the original outlines, but then I helped kind of harness it and wrangle it in and say, okay, these are the like a lot of mistakes that people make when they're writing,
Mhm.
especially their first story. We tend to go too grand. Everything's huge, and you're like, you're gonna need 18,000 issues to cover this. We need to boil that story way down and get this little sliver. So that's what we did, and then we wrote the script together based upon what we were able to come up with. So I'm looking forward to the release of this. It's a fun story. As always, the artwork is great. Same as with Crimson Shadows. Kevin is going to handle the inks. Brett's going to do the lettering. All three of us have covers. And Shara Lima came back. She worked on some of the issues. She did our flatting. I love working with Shara. She does a great job. And now I've just got to finalize those colors. I'm really close. So I've been trying to crank that out in between doing real estate. So that's been my fun.
Yeah, and that's been our whole thing is always with this stuff is love to be just working on this kind of full time, but we both, all three of us have the day jobs.
Yeah.
And
Gotta pay the bills.
And that's where it gets tied up in. And then with different travels, I was getting ready. Originally, I was going to go to Orlando last week, but somebody stole Milton's red stapler, and I got stuck at home working. But and the thing is, like, well, if I can't go there, I still got to work the job and make money because it's that's the way it goes. And then I worked basically worked straight up till today just to get ready to head back out of town tomorrow. So and then when I get back, it's like, okay, I'm done with the Comic Cons for a while. Then I'll be able to dedicate more time to all the book stuff.
So if anyone out there is watching, Elon Musk, Bezos, anybody, any of you multimillionaires or billionaires out there, if you want to fund our comic to the point where we could really do this full time, we will product place for you into the issue. We'll be shameless about it. We'll have SpaceX. We'll have whatever you want. We'll put it in the issues. We just need about 100 million would do.
Yeah, sure. $100 million. We can all retire and just do this full time.
Yeah. So I think we could do that. So if you have $100 million,
we just take a big chunk, put it into an annuity. It'll pay us every year. So we got our money coming in slowly. So we're not blowing through it. We all can buy a nice place to live that has our own studios, and that's it.
We can do crossover promotion. We'll let you take up our issues into space. So go throw it at that Tesla.
Oh, he can partner with Amazon, so he can send his stuff up with SpaceX, and then Amazon send his on his blue ball. And
yep.
And that, but I love that. But it's I love creating comics. It's always fun and it's great to be working in something like this. And it's like I told people like, well, you're not really making much money. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? It beats not doing anything.
Well, I think
other than a day job,
yeah, I think that's where in the industry there are people who are really amazing artists. Mm-hmm. They have great skills, but it's not the core of who they are. They are very talented in what they do, but if they don't draw, they're fine with it. If they don't create, they're fine with it. And which is some of these legends that we've talked off air before about, where people who are just legendary in the industry, you visit them and all their stuff on the table is stuff from 30 years ago. It's like, how have you not created anything since, And I think I've come to learn over time through my own experiences, the difference between being an artist and a creator. Mm-hmm. When you're a creator, the stuff is birthing in you and you have to get it out or else it will drive you insane. So even if you're not making lots of money at it, you're going to have this need to draw it out, to put it out there, to create a book, because it's more than just being a tool for somebody else and just, okay, oh, you want me to draw Wolverine? Here's Wolverine. Here you go. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. But the second they're done being paid to draw it, they no longer draw. You don't see them creating any new characters, new artwork, nothing. Not even new artwork of the old characters they used to draw.
Right.
So it's like, I think that's the difference is when you're a creator, it's like breathing. You have to get it out.
Yeah.
And do something with it.
Yeah. It's speaking of that, I'm going to share something here. And this is, one thing about us, we've had people hit us up over the years that want to get on the show to talk about their projects, whatever else. We don't really know them, but if they're pals of ours, they can come on here anytime they want if we get the chance to have them on. But it's always tough with schedules, stuff like that. But when it's going on 10 more days, it is a Kickstarter. You can look at Detroit Folklore Horror Fantasy, and this is done by Terrell, buddy of mine, Terrell, and I think it's Dave Brown's doing it with him. So Terrell Colbert. And then it's Dave Brown, who we've talked on the show a couple times. He's popped in. Oh, where'd it go? There we go.
Oh,
yep, there it is. Okay, so it's basically an anthology horror book they did. 2 comic book creators. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Dave Brown Jr., Terrell Colbert, both fellow Detroiters. I've been friends with Terrell for a long time. I've him on the show here a couple times over the years.
That was great.
And love him at shows. He's a brother in comics. You know, it's one of those things. I love seeing these guys at shows, and they come up partner up together. I've been back in Terrell's books all the time. In fact, Terrell likes to laugh because when you get a couple pals like him or even my pal Tally, I get notifications as soon as they launch a project. I usually am on my phone and click, 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 bought, done. Okay, and I get a text going, "Really? First again?" You're always the first one. Or one time I was like 5 minutes late getting. I think it was 5 minutes late getting on the Detroit Folk. I texted Terrell, said, "Sorry, I wasn't first." He says back laughing, goes, "No, we just appreciate that." So, but yeah, this looks like a fun little story. A couple stories they did. They got some different covers, just like what we do. Great stuff. I went with the 2 physical copies because I wanted the 2 covers, one from each of them for $40. Otherwise, it's $20 for one. And so it looks like a fun little book. I mean, this is the thing is they're out there doing it. They're out there creating. They're out there publishing. Let me drop a link in there too. And I can tell you this. It's seeing these people do this stuff. Dave does a lot of shows. He's kind of like I was way back in Scott was. He does a fair amount of shows. He was in Chicago this past weekend. I saw him posting. He was at the Chronic Con, which is the Kevin Smith Comic Con they did in Chicago. I don't know if he's in New York this weekend. New York is this coming weekend, and of course Cincinnati's this weekend as well. So it's and I know our friends T-24 are out in New York for New York Comic Con. They're not going to be at Cincinnati this year because they took the whole team, as they call it. They have 2 other people that go to different shows that Benny and Lisa don't go to now, but the whole team's going to be in New York because it's such a big show. They have to have all 4 of them there running the booth. Yeah. So I look forward to seeing how that goes for them. And then when they get done, they did a new Ghostbusters type image for a shirt and sweatshirt. So I'm going to see what they have left after that. I might have to get me one of those. Nice. And we got some other pals I know out there too. I believe I think Dominic might be doing it. He usually does. Dominic Reggio does it. I haven't seen any posts, but and then Terry, he's always out there. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So if you're out in New York, definitely go look at New York Comic Con. And then Sean Forney's gonna be there too. So
nice.
But yeah. So what else you got going on, Scott? Anything else?
That's about it. I got big news I'll announce later. Wait until we get closer to the event. But Brett and Kevin know the news. Mm-hmm. But I'll put that on the back burner for now and announce it later. But otherwise, good stuff. It's just been busy. A lot of real estate market-wise. I'll just mention real estate really quick. Big drop in mortgage applications this past week. Big drop in a lot of stuff. It's now no need to panic though. A lot of people I'm talking to are all worried. In a election, a presidential election every 4 years, it is very normal for everything to grind to a halt leading up to it, because a lot of people at this point are saying to themselves, I want to wait and see what happens before I make a decision. So it's very normal to see a big slowdown in October into November. So now, if that slowdown continues through December and January and into April, okay, now we got to worry. But as of right now, this is a normal drop. Usually end of November into December, we see a little bit higher than usual activity because of the lower than usual activity that happens before the election. So we'll see what happens in December. I'm not panicked. Like I said, it's normal, so just know that. However, if you're a buyer, it's a good time to try to get some offers out there because you have a much lesser chance of a bidding war. So if you're a buyer, it's a good time to make an offer. And it definitely will help you out right now. Now, there's usually the flip side of that is there's going to be less to see because not as many houses are being listed.
I think we've talked about this before, though. As it gets close to the holidays, it's definitely, like you said, it's just they slow down and people are like, well, I don't want to move now, especially here in Michigan. They don't want to plan on moving too much in midwinter. They want to kind of get through the winters and get through the spring.
We will usually see a bump. Actually, we usually have a decent December. So usually there's some good home buying activity in November for the people who are trying to make a move before the end of the year. So we'll see some activity right now, October and November. Like I said, October this year is down, but that's because it's an election, so no worry. So we'll see what happens, but definitely January and February is like, no man's land for a while, and then March and April come, and everybody starts thinking real estate again. So it's a normal ebb and flow that happens. Time will tell if this is these adjustments are part of the normal pattern or it's the start of a worse pattern.
Well, and I think it's with everything. It's what's going on. We're waiting. Everybody's waiting to see what happens in the election.
Yep.
Not just presidential, but also on the House, Senate, and local levels.
Yep.
Things like that. It all plays a factor in how people decide what they want to do, where they want to go.
Yep.
It's also some people are waiting to see on things because of corporations wanting to do layoffs.
I have seen a number of houses come back on the market. And so there's a section where it's comments for other agents to be able to read. The public can't read them, but the agents can. And those, a lot of times when a house comes back on the market, you'll give an explanation of, why. You don't want to hurt your seller, but you'll give some explanation if it had nothing to do with the seller. But a few of them have now been saying buyer financing fell through because buyer lost job.
Yeah.
And I've seen a few of those. So I'm wondering, is there a little bit of a layoff wave happening that maybe the media is not reporting so much right now?
I think there is. And just from what I've seen on my end for shopping for people is seen a few changes. There's a few people I shop for quite regularly, and all of a sudden they just, no word, just gone.
Yeah.
And these are people I literally would see every week, and now I'm not seeing them at all. And I've talked to a couple of my shopper friends, like, you seeing so-and-so? And they're like, no, have you? And I'm like, no, and it's been almost 2 months now. So I'm wondering if it's tied into the job changes and things like that, or, it's, you don't know what else is going on. It could be something else personal, but definitely I think there is some scale backs. And it's like even watching the stores, main store I shop at, they're definitely shorthanded. They've hired some new people, but they can't keep enough people there. Now, of course, if you talk to the people who work there, they all complain about the job. I know it sucks, but you can go anywhere else. You're going to run into a lot of the same problems. Everything you're saying is the same thing I've heard for the last 35 years working anywhere, especially when you go, none of that changes anyway. You may go somewhere else and it seems great for a minute, and that's it, That's it. But it should just do your job, go home, things like that. And then you hear the customers complaining. It's like, because this grocery store is like, they only got 2 registers to get on something. I'm like going, hey, anybody needs a job? They're hiring. Kind of. That's the other problem. Yeah, I mean they're not hiring fast enough. They are hiring some, but one is just getting people to come in. But number 2 is okay. You guys are down still half staff, and they've been this way for a few years.
Right.
But I keep hearing talk like, they got to watch the budget on what they're paying employees. 0 overtime. And I'm thinking, all right, you're down by half. If you got people that are willing to work over an extra like 10 hours a week, why wouldn't you do that to make sure your product's on the shelf so people can buy it? You're losing money because you're trying to save money on a payroll, and that's, I think it's the same thing I've heard over the years. And I look at people, they go, well, you just don't understand. I'm like, no, actually I do. As a shopper, I mean, I do my best to find stuff for my people. And I mean, a couple times I don't care anymore. It's like for dairy, especially, I'll just walk back there because it's right there. The doors are open up, go look. Go find some people. And then I've got some of the managers coming to me, talk to me, and they're not coming down on me. But they're like, the one asked me, he goes, you can tell me what happened on Sunday? He goes, we were down like, our curbside had like 96% in stock and shipped because they do track that, had 90%. I looked and said, well, 2 things. One, there's some people that just don't care in the ship side. If they can't find it, they're not gonna ask anybody. Number 2, there was a bonus, which means it brings people out of the woodwork that really don't care because they're trying to get some stupid bonus to get an extra like $25. And me, I care because I don't look at little bonuses for an extra 25 or $50. I look at what I get paid by the tips I get from my customers, because that's how I live and judge everything. So, but it's it's things like that. I'm watching that kind of go on, and it's like, okay, this is not pretty good. There's a lot of changes going on in that industry. I think it's reflective on the grassroots, because I'm watching also. The other problem is in Michigan here for me, anyways, was we had a lot of nicer weather longer. People are like, why order? Let's go out. It's actually nice to get out. Now we're starting
Right.
to see cooler, rainer. I noticed a little bump in orders, and I said, "Yeah, it gets more into this fall winter stuff." And people are like, "Yeah, I don't feel like going anywhere. I'll
That's
have it
good.
delivered."
Yeah. Mm,
So just remember to tip your drivers, people. Tip your
that's right.
shoppers. You know, if they take good care of you, you take good care of them, and they'll keep taking good care of you. So,
Very true.
but that's it. That's about all I got. I don't know. I could ramble on some more crap, but it's already 8 o'clock, and
Yep.
it's almost Scott's bedtime. So
It's almost my bedtime. Yeah. I'm feeling like I could fall asleep now.
yeah, long days to do that to you. So, well, hey, we'll talk more next Wednesday. So you guys have a great week. We'll fit in how good Cincinnati was for us. And
Yeah.
by next week, we should have the Kickstarter launch. We can talk a little more about that next Wednesday, and maybe we can do a little launch party if we have to on the
Perfect.
night it launches. So we'll talk more next week, guys. Y'all have a good one. Bye.
Take care.